Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. More 1 minute is there, but still, we'll start the class.
Okay, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are here to discuss about the concepts relating to fee-based financial services. Last class, we have come across the meaning of fee-based financial services and few concepts or classification relating to fee-based financial services. Let us have a quick glance once again. Fee-based financial services are the services rendered by banks and financial institutions, basically to create a platform where the savers and investors come together. That means where the savers and investors are where the saver is looking for an investor, where the investor is looking for a saver. So that means the fee-based financial services, the banks and institutions which are engaged in rendering of fee-based financial services create a platform by rendering them various kind of advisory services, counseling work, making of project reports, and various kinds of services relating to credit management of their clients, or it can be any service relating to portfolio management. It can be any service relating to various activities of feasibility writing. All these services will be rendered by banks and financial institutions on behalf of their clients. So here, one thing we need to understand that under the fee-based financial services, there is no financial support extended by banks or institutions to the clients. That means there is no amount or there is no movement of cash from the point of banks or institutions to the borrower, because the financial services are classified as fund-based financial services and fee-based financial services. In fund-based financial services, banks and other financial institutions extend their support to the investor by crediting the loan amount. That means by rendering financial support by crediting the loan amount to the borrower's account. But when it comes to the part of fee-based financial services, no no transaction relating to money or relating to cash is being supported by banks and financial institutions. That means apart from keeping aside, other than lending the money, they will do all sort of support and help which a borrower required. Preparation of document or preparation of application forms, giving guarantee for the loans taken, or credit rating services, insurance support, like this. All these services or support will be extended by banks and financial institutions. Such kind of rendering of services where there is no cash involvement is there, all such services will fall under the category of fee-based financial services. Now, these fee-based financial services are classified into three categories, basically. One, we have learned in our last class, merchant banking. We have learned who is a merchant banker, what are the functions that are being rendered by merchant banker, how this merchant banking concept has been evolved in our country, and what are the drawbacks or the weaknesses of these merchant banks, and what the SEBI is suggesting for the upgradation or progress of merchant banks. These are all the concepts that we have studied in the last class. And the second most important thing we need to learn is credit rating. In yesterday's class, we have also discussed certain few points relating to credit rating. What is credit rating? It is a what do you call credit assessment given by a credit rating agency on a particular borrower, on a particular individual, or that borrower might be an institution. The assessment, if the assessment is quantified and a credit on the credit worthiness of that individual or a company, then that system we call it as credit rating. And yesterday we discussed that generally for individuals, the credit rating is given in numerical form, and for institutions and organizations, credit rating will be given in alphabetical form, that is in character form. Now, let us learn how this credit rating is going to influence. What is the importance? Why do you need to go for credit rating in the country? Generally, when an individual or a company applies for a loan from a bank want to study the financial status and the financial history of that concerned individual or company who applied for loan. Now, as we know, commercial banks and all private banks are busy engaged in rendering various kind of financial activities. So basically, they are the profit running organizations. They are busy in making the money in rendering the various services to their customers. So they may not have the proper time or proper channels to assess the credit worthiness of their borrower. So this responsibility or work is being assigned to a private organization called credit rating agencies. Many private organizations have come up into the market with the nature of credit rating agency. Now, what is the duty of this credit rating agencies is whenever any person or any company, if they apply for a loan to the bank, that they will collect the basic information of the customer who applied for a loan, and immediately that information is being passed to the credit rating agency. This credit rating agency will collect the documents relating to the borrower, their Aadhaar, PAN details, their financial reports. All the details will be collected. And once the details are ready, then they will be busy engaged in assessing the credit worthiness of that borrower. And in last class, we have already discussed certain points relating to the process of credit rating system. What are the factors that influence and the process of credit rating system? How the credit rating system will take place? First of all, the credit rating agency will make an agreement with the bank or that issuing company, and relating to the norms, procedure, rules and regulations of their agreement. Then they will appoint an analytical team. The rating agency will appoint a team of members who are experts in financial aspects, having a broader knowledge about the areas of business, financial terminologies and all. Later, this analytical team will be engaged busy in collecting the required information for assessing the creditworthiness of that company or that particular individual borrower. So once they generally collect the information from the client relating to their financial position, their accounts, their market shares, and what is the selling and buying activities, all their what are their working capital requirements. All these details will be collected by that concerned expert team, and they will call for a meeting. Once the data or information is ready with the expert or analytical team, they'll call for a meeting. to obtain clarification. Sometimes the reports may not talk properly. I mean, we may have the analytical team may get certain queries relating to some expenses or the incomes that they have received. So, for clarification, they may call the individual or the concerned client for a discussion. Once the discussions are done, then this analytical team will sit with the senior analyst of that particular credit rating agency, and they will convene a meeting relating to this is the relating to what should be the credit rating that to be given to that concerned individual or that particular company. So in the meeting, they will generally, what they'll do, they'll prepare a report of all the work or the background work they have done. Once the report is ready, then the discussion will be held with the senior analyst relating to what should be the rating to be given to that company or that individual. Now, as I said, as we discussed earlier, generally for individuals, it will be numerical rating. That is, on 1,000 scale, they will rate, and minimum of 700 is the score that they have to get. Suppose an individual, that is Bharati, applied for a loan. Bharati's credit information will be given to the credit rating agency. They will do all background check of Bharati. There is her financial status, her financial reports, bank statements, everything. They will generate a report. So by observing these bank statements and all, the credit rating agency will prepare a report that Bharati is having so many loans. This is her past record, whether she is able to pay or clear her loans on time, whether any dues are there, whether any check bounces are there. All this they will assess, they will scrutinize everything, and a final report will be made and discussed in the meeting. So, based on her transactions and the credit worthiness, numbering will be given, that is, rating will be given to Bharati. Once the rating is given, if it is generally that information will be conveyed to the bank, stating that yes, she is eligible, her credit worthiness is positive, she is eligible for loan. Then bank will decide how to proceed for further processing of her loan. So this is how the relating to an individual. When it comes to the part of companies or any other organizations, now, if any company, organization, or a semi-government body has applied for a loan, then they will conduct a meeting. Credit rating agency will convene a meeting. There, they will decide the rating that to be given to that particular company, and that information will be conveyed to the concerned company. That based on your credit worthiness, this is the rating we have given to your company, not only to the concerned client, but this information has also to be passed to the public, because public should know where that company stands. Because as an individual, as a consumer, we will come into, suppose you take the examples of what do you call Sony electronic goods. Electronic goods will always have a rating, whether it can be a color TV, whether it can be a refrigerator, washing machine. At the time of buying, we generally question the sales team. What is the rating of this so and so product? That means that rating is not given by the concerned company. That rating is being decided by the what do you call credit rating agencies. So, based on the credit worthiness, quality, and the progress of that concerned product. Now, this information has to reach the public. So, they will take the support of what you call media or press, and the rating will be announced publicly. And if any queries relating to the what do you call, or any queries or any dissatisfaction relating to the rating of that particular company, that can be revised by conducting or convening a meeting or on a mutual discussion. And once the issuer company accepts the rating agency is under obligation to monitor the assigned rating. Rating agency monitor all ratings during the life of the instrument. Once the rating is given, the rating agency should keep on assessing the background check or records of these clients companies, so that they should not fall below the rating that is already given to them. This is how the credit rating agencies will act. This is what the process that is involved in credit rating aspects, credit rating procedure. Now let us discuss what are the various agencies that are working for credit rating in India. The most and the very familiar one among all the credit rating agencies in our country is CRISIL. CRISIL stands for Credit Rating and Information Services of India Limited. All of you, please take the details from the slide. CRISIL is one of the topmost credit rating agency in our country, which stands as credit rating. CRISIL stands for Credit Rating and Information Services of India Limited. This is the first credit rating agency which has been set up in our country by ICICI Limited, along with the support of UTI in 1987. Now, after a period of 1 year, looking at the nature of operations of credit rating agency, many institutions have come forward to set up. Actually, the foundation stone for that means the setting up of or incorporation of this credit agency was done in 1987 for the first time, but actual commencement of its operations has started from during the year 1988. That is after incorporating, after registering 1 year, 1 year after the registration period, they started their operations. Now, the head office of this CRISIL is located in India, and it is one of the prominent and most familiar credit rating agency which is running in our country. Which and this CRISIL, what do you call? Whatever the report generated by CRISIL is really trustworthy, and what do you call? It carries a lot of goodwill in the market, because all banks and financial institutions to lend a loan, they depend upon the credit rating given by agencies. So CRISIL is very fair, and whatever the report that is given by CRISIL will always stands as genuine, without any without involving in any what do you call, turbulence of data or misappropriation of data. That is the credit worthiness that goes to CRISIL here. Now, it is very good to what do you call, observe that CRISIL operates from 8 different countries, especially from what do you call, Western countries like USA, Argentina, Poland, UK, China, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Now, it also works with many government bodies and policy makers, and in providing or in marketing their infrastructure domain in the market. So this is what the importance that goes to CRISIL here. Then apart from CRISIL, we have another credit rating agency on the name of ICRA. You call it as ICRA, ICRA, ICRA. ICRA stands for Investment Information and Credit Rating Agency. ICRA, ICRA, Investment Information and Credit Rating Agency. This is the second credit rating agency which is being set up in our country, registered in our country during the year 1991. Now, this ICRA has been set up by the support of many financial institutions and commercial banks that are there in our country. Now, since it is being set up or incorporated by the commercial banks, it falls or it belongs to the category of public limited company, and its head office is located in New Delhi. And majority shareholders who are owning major shareholding rights of ICRA is Moody's. Moody's is one of the agency that is what do you call serving many financial benefits to banks and financial institutions. So major shares of ICRA are being held under the control of Moody's here. This is about Investment Information and Credit Rating Agency. Now let us understand what are the other credit rating agencies that are working in our country. Now you have CARE, the another prominent credit rating agency that is running in our country is CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited, CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited. This CARE is being set up during the year 1993, which has its head office located in Mumbai. Now, this CARE is not only working or rendering its services at the national level, it also has certain international, it also has certain connects or dealings with the international credit rating agencies, ARC. There is an international credit rating agency called ARC, which is carrying a very good prominence in our country. So this ARC, to support this ARC, this what do you call, CARE is rendering its services in our country. Now next coming to ONICRA. This ONICRA is actually being set up by Onida Finance. This is a private sector agency which has come up into the market for rendering the credit rating services in our country. And this is being set up by Onida Finance. It has its head office in Gurgaon, New Delhi, and it engages in rendering the services like rating the creditworthiness of individuals or companies, risk assessment, and analytical solutions to individuals. Many MSMEs and various private sector companies are depending upon the reports generated by ONICRA here. Now, it is one of the 7 agencies licensed by National Small Industries Corporation of India. Now, this ONICRA is what do you call? Having its location or branch offices all over the world, especially in India, they have their offices located almost in 125 locations. This is about various credit rating agencies that are working in our country. Now, let us come to one of the important aspects that we need to learn under the topic of credit rating agency, that is mandatory credit rating. Mandatory credit rating. Mandatory credit rating. Now, actually, this credit rating system was not that familiar, prominent, and earlier. And most of the individuals also, they were, I mean, that background check used to be done even in the traditional methodology, traditional banking system also. But nowadays, this is a booming topic in the market. Every individual has come to know what is CIBIL, what is the credit rating, why this credit rating is being done. Now, there are certain sectors where government has made it mandatory or compulsory that all those organizations which cover under the following bracket should go for credit rating mandatorily. What is mandatorily? Mandatory means compulsory. There are certain organizations which the RBI or the government insists that credit rating for these companies is mandatory. And until and unless the credit report is being generated, assessed, and the rating is given, there is no financial support extended to those bodies. All those bodies will cover under the part of mandatory credit rating. Now let us learn what are those bodies for which credit rating is mandatory. The first among them is debt securities. Debt securities. Debt means debentures or anyone who is any bank or any organization which lends the loans exceeding the repayment period of 18 months or which have a maturity period of more than 1 year should go for compulsory credit rating. Any organization, any individual who is raising a loan for a period extending more than 1.5 years with a maturity period of more than 1.5 years, it is mandatory for them that credit report has to be generated. Basically, this concept government has insisted for all government, all non-government debt securities where the maturities are extending 18 months. 18 months means 1.5 year. Anybody who is taking the loan with a maturity period of repayment of 1.5 year or 18 months, it is mandatory for them to go for credit rating. Second thing, rating of deposits in the company has also been made compulsory. Public deposits. Anybody who is depositing their money or before we deposit our money, suppose we are depositing our money in a commercial bank. Now we should look for what is the credit worthiness of that commercial bank. Manam double pette mundu, whether that bank deserves our deposits or not, that also to be checked. It's not only that, only while taking the loan, bank will check our credit worthiness. Even at the time of depositing the money, it can be if Bharti wants to deposit money in a bank, she need to check whether my money will be safe with that bank or not, what is the history of that bank, whether that bank is a genuine bank or not, whether that bank has a support of government or not, whether it falls under the bracket of RBI considerations or not. All these has to be checked. This also falls under the category of credit rating. So before we invest our deposits, even an individual or any company can go for a mandatory credit rating of that bank, and then you can go for depositing your valuables with them. Then for commercial papers, this we have studied under the money market instruments, that how the commercial papers are going to work, what is the main duty or for what purposes. It is one of the very familiar money market instrument in our country for raising short-term loan, for raising short-term credit. Now, this credit rating has also been made compulsory for all commercial papers. Now, as per the guidelines of RBI, a rating of a rating will be given. As I said, organizations are generally rated by alphabetical order, alphabetics. That is in the form of characters, not in the form of numbers. So that credit rating, basing on the credit rating, they deserve that that commercial paper should go for rating of themselves. Then only they can go for the process of lending short-term credits. The another place or another aspect where the credit rating is made mandatory is on fixed deposits with NBFCs. We have also studied what is the meaning of non-banking finance company, how do they act. What is an NBFC? What does NBFC stands for? NBFC is non-banking
Non-bank.
finance company. Yes, we have studied in the last classes already that how this NBFC is going to function. And the basic function of non-banking services, it is going to perform all the functions and render all the services like banks, except that it do not accept deposits from the public. It won't accept any deposits from the public. So once the NBFC is established, they should go for rating, mandatory rating, because people should have trust on NBFC for taking the loan or at the time of depositing the money. Under the Companies Act, credit rating has been made compulsory for fixed deposits with non-banking finance companies. So this is about mandatory credit rating. Hope I am clear with the topic of credit rating for everyone.
Yes.
Okay. Now let us move to another important fee-based financial services. Under fee-based, we have discussed about merchant banking. Second, we discussed about credit rating in our country. And the third category of fee-based financial services is depository services. Depository services. Now, depository service means these services are generally rendered by any bank or any financial institution. Now, let us learn what is the meaning of this depository services. Depository means holding the securities of an individual in electronic form or in a dematerialized form. That means all your valuables you may not keep at home safely. Suppose you have some gold, silver, valuables. What you will do? We may feel that keeping at home, there is a chance of theft. There is chance of missing them at home. Many things may arise. So what we do? We feel safe to keep our gold, silver and other valuables with bank lockers. Yes or no? That is one kind of depository services rendered by all commercial banks and financial institutions. Now, under depository services, the concept has been extended in such a way that any individual, he may not only keep any gold or any what do you call valuables or commodities with them, they can also keep their valuable documents, or they can also keep what do you call um, um, anything which is of high worthy nature, which is very valuable, very important, and where you feel that storing it is not safe at your point. So you want them to keep with some organization which is going to protect them. It can be documents avachu, it can be certificates, it can be gold, it can be silver, it can be commodity, anything which you feel that it is valuable, it has to be stored properly. You can take the support of bank and financial institutions for depository services. ఈ కమర్షియల్ బ్యాంక్స్ అన్నీ కూడా మన వాల్యుబుల్స్ ని పెట్టుకోవడానికి రెండర్ చేసే సర్వీస్ నే depository services we call it. Now let us understand in depth about the depositories services in our country. Who can act as depositories service? You can call them as depository participants antaru generally. Now, this Depositories Act was passed in the year 1996 in our country. Now, basically, what this depository means, a company which is registered under the Indian Companies Act of 1956 can act as a depository. Any body or any company which has been granted a certificate of registration under SEBI Act 1992, ఏదైనా organization ki gaani or any institution which got registered under SEBI and it carries the certificate of SEBI's registration under the Act of 1992, that can also act as a depository firm. The first depository was set in the year 1947 in Germany. In the year of 1947, this concept of depository services has started from the place Germany. So now it is clear that any organization, any company which is registered under the Indian Companies Act of 1956 or which is registered under the SEBI Regulation Act of 1992, it has the authority or right to act as depository firm. Now, if you observe, currently, that is as on today, there are two depository institutions exclusively working for rendering depository services in our country. One is NSDL. NSDL stands for National Securities Depository Limited. National Securities Depository Limited. NSDL is having 1.39 crores of demat account as on 30th June 2015. Now the number has increased. As per the latest data, almost this figure has crossed some 3.7 crores as on today. Now, the second organization or the firm that is rendering the services of depository nature is CDSL, Central Depository Services Limited. It is having 98 lakh demat accounts in their firm. Now, I'll explain you, need not to worry, I'll explain you in detail what is this demat account is. Okay. Now, just as of now, please understand that there are two important depository firms which are operating in our country. One is NSDL, National Securities Depository Limited, and the second one is CDSL, Central Depository Services Limited. Okay, then. Now, there are many services, various kinds of services that are being rendered by many banks and financial institutions. Again, why do you need a depository service exclusively? What is the thing why people or companies or firms are going and approaching the depository firms? Let us learn. First thing, as I said, problem of theft. or problem of forging the documents, problem of creating fake documents. If our documents are within our hands, there is a chance that we may misplace them somewhere. There is a chance that somebody may theft our documents from us. There is a chance that somebody may forge our documents and create a duplicate document of the same. There is a chance that somebody may create fake documents, whatever we have. So instead of all this, if we approach a depository service, keep our documents with them, that is considered as a safe and prominent act. Second thing is share transfer delays due to signature mismatches. This I can teach you once we go depth into the class. That we'll learn a few minutes later. Much of paperwork. Now, why do you need this depository services means? Because whatever the companies or other organizations that we have approached till date, or it can be bank or somebody to keep our documentation and all, lot of paperwork is involved, lot of process to be done for this. And the process is very, very time consuming, and there are a lot of regulations like stamp duties, legalizing, what do you call that word? Mm, create making it what do you call affidavit, making an affidavit or support for that. All this will charge some fee or some kind of commission on the part of the client. So instead of that, if you directly approach a depository services, all this paperwork, time consuming things, all this can be avoided. So keeping this as very important aspect for the progress of our country, Government of India during the year of 1996 has passed the Depositories Act to start an exclusive depository service company in our country. That is how this NSCL and CDSL have come up into the market, because banks are already performing this kind of work, but still there are many loopholes that have been observed on the depository work of the banks. So government has initiated the concept of establishing a separate depository service in our country on the name of NSDL and CDSL. These have come up into with the Depositories Act 1996. This is about the history or the background or the need for depository services. Now let us study what are the various functions or activities that are generally performed by these depository service companies. Now, what is the basic idea of all these financial services? To act as intermediary between the saver and the investor. This is what the depository service is doing. The securities are issued by agents associated with depositories who are known as depository participants. The agents are responsible for transferring the securities from the depositors to the investors. Now, here, suppose if Bharati wants to buy some shares. Bharti wants to buy some shares. So she may take the help of uh, a bank or any financial institution to buy those shares. Now, as we know, a share is not a commodity. It does not have shape, color, or any other resemblance. It is what do you call? It is a security which is being written on a paper. Yes or no? It does not have any physical appearance. So what these banks or institutions will be doing? They will have the company as a client, and this savers or investors on the one side. Now, Bharti wants to buy the shares. So, whatever the shares Bharti wants to buy, she cannot approach the company directly. She requires somebody to act as a mediator. That mediator can be a depository organization. It can be a bank, it can be an institution, or it can be a brokerage. Okay. Now, suppose if Bharati has paid some 2 lakhs rupees for 10 shares. That means after making the payment, all those shares has to be transferred onto the name of Bharati. So on a document, the company will mention very clearly that Bharati has been sold so and so shares. Like that, they will prepare certain documents, certain papers. Now, this papers will be with the depositors. What do you call DPs, depository participants. That means with the bank or that particular financial institution. And whenever Bharti wants to sell the shares, she will give that intimation to the concerned brokerage, and he or she is going to act as per the requirement of Bharti. So that means what? Whenever you are buying or selling any securities, you will make the payment and set simply. But the documents relating to the shares will not be handed over to you. That will be under the control of this depository firms. This is what the first function what the depository firm is performing. Now, you may question, Madam, what is the benefit? Why we need to keep our share documents, all these documents relating to our investment with the bank or any institution? Why? Because by keeping your documents in a digitalized form, actually, the depository firms always maintain a demat account. What is this demat account? Means whenever you are buying any share or any bond or any kind of security, you need to prepare the documents, right? You will pay the money and you will demand the document. That document, they will keep it in a digital form, in a dematerialized form. That is what the meaning of demat. Demat account means dematerialized account. That means just like savings account, FD account, you will open a demat account. But generally, in these FD accounts and savings account, you will save the money. But when it comes to demat account, by paying some what do you call account opening amount, you are going to save your valuable documents which are related to your shares, which are related to the bonds or that you have purchased. This is what keeping of securities in dematerialized form. అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే మన షేర్స్ కి మన బాండ్స్ కి సంబంధించిన డాక్యుమెంట్స్ అన్ని whenever you are keeping them in electronic form, saving them in a bank account, in an account, saving them in an electronic form, that methodology is called as dematerialization of securities. అయితే మరి dematerialized form లో electronic form లో ఉన్న డాక్యుమెంట్స్ నీ దగ్గర ఉంటే there might be a consequence of theft, forgery, faking them and all. So to avoid this, these mediators are helping us. Instead of keeping those documents with you at home, you can keep them safely with this depository forms. This is how you are going to eliminate the risk of physically holding those financial securities. అయితే ఎప్పుడైతే మనం షేర్స్ బాండ్స్ ని కొంటామో దానికి సంబంధించిన డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ని వెనెవర్ యు ఆర్ కీపింగ్ దెమ్ సేఫ్లీ విత్ ద depository firm, that system you call it as dematerialization of securities. Now, by keeping this, what's happening? You are reducing the risk of losing them and keeping them in a physically safe mode. This is what the another important function of depository firms. Hope you are all able to follow this concept.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then another function what the depository firms are performing is on the securities, whatever you kept with the or whatever you have yes, you have saved with these banks and financial institutions, keeping them as custody, you can raise a loan if you require. Suppose Bharti has 2 lakh worth of government bond with SBI. SBI దగ్గర భారతి 2 lakhs worth of government document పెట్టింది. Bharti purchased 2 lakh worth of bonds. That document she kept it with SBI deposits లో పెట్టింది. SBI దగ్గర safe గా పెట్టింది. That means SBI is holding 2 lakh worth of property of Bharati. Now, if required, any point of time, Bharati can take a loan from SBI, keeping this bonds as security. That is what the another benefit what a client is having. That means no documents the mortgage, you can mortgage those documents, on them you can raise a loan. This is what the another benefit what the participant is going to gain. Next, whenever you are entering into any or buying or selling any kind of securities, you require lot of paperwork, documentation work to be done. But as an individual, since it is very time consuming process, you may not spend the time, or you may not have what do you call uh, awareness about the supportive documents to be attached, the process and all. Instead of all doing or involving in all this, simply you can give this responsibility to a broker or a mediator. They will take care about preparing of documents, accelerating the process of transferring the securities. Our documents, Annie, whenever you buy the shares, Bharati wants to buy shares from Rajni. So whatever the shares are there on the name of Rajni, that has to be transferred to the name of Bharti. Now, for transferring that, it takes lot of time, lot of documentation, lot of paperwork to be done, lot of stamping work, lot of fee, effort, everything is involved. So Bharti does not have time for all this. She can take the support of a depository firm. It can be a bank, it can be an individual broker, or it can be an institution. They will do the work, all the background work that Bharti wants to. This is how they are. Bharti can reduce the paperwork. She can reduce the stress. She can save the time. She can reduce the effort that she has to make for preparation of documents. This is what the another function which is performed by a depository firm. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now here you observe the functions of a depository firm. They serve as a link between companies and investors. They eliminate the risk relating to owing physical financial securities. Then they allow the provision of loans or mortgage to interested parties. Depository firms help or support us in reducing paperwork and accelerate the process of transferring securities. This is how the depository firms are working now. Let us learn what are the various types of depository institutions. Now, as we have been studying, a depository institution can be a bank, it can be an institution, it can be an individual. So, the first category of depository services are very prominent among commercial banks. Generally, large banks, the banks which are well settled and which have which are offering wide range of services and which are also having certain branches in the foreign countries, or which are well established in our country, having a wide range of branches, having majority of transactions are carried on, just like SBI, the topmost commercial bank in our country. Like that, any bank which have a wide range of branches, wide range of business operations, can take the responsibility of acting as a depository service. This is first kind, that is commercial banks. Second category is credit unions. Now, these credit unions are generally cooperative societies. What is a cooperative society? This is a society or an organization set up by a group of people who have a common interest. That means it can be 10 people, 20 members, 30 members. They will come together. They will form a union and they will be working or rendering the services of depository protection. So the credit unions are also allowed to act as depository firms. But for all this, there are certain rules and regulations that we will be studying now. Okay. There are certain norms to be followed, rules and regulations. Meanwhile, you just remember that a commercial bank can act as a depository firm. A credit union set up by a group of people having common goals and objectives can also work like a depository firm. Then savings institutions. All those institutions that are encouraging or progressing the savings of individuals also work as depository institutions. Now, who can participate in the depository service? Who is eligible to participate? Now, if you observe, who is a depository participant? Let us learn the meaning first. Who is a depository participant? He is an agent or he may be a middleman, a mediator who is authorized to offer depository services to all the investors. ఏ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ అయితే, ఏ బ్యాంక్ అయితే, ఏ ఇండివిజువల్ అయితే depository services ప్రొవైడ్ చేయడానికి రెడీగా ఉన్నారో, such an institution, such an individual, you call them as depository participant. Now, they are generally depository participant, or participant is an intermediary between investor and the depositor. Depositor ki, investor ki madhyalo unde vyakte or that organization is a depository participant. And as we have studied, there are certain regulations for acting as a depository participant. Any individual or any firm, if they want to render the services of depository participant, they have to get registered as per the regulations of SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India. And a depository participant is just like a బ్రాంచ్ ఆఫ్ బ్యాంక్. ఒక బ్యాంక్ ఏ విధంగా ఆపరేట్ చేస్తుందో వాళ్ళ ఫంక్షన్స్ ని, వాళ్ళ యాక్టివిటీస్ ని ఆర్ దేర్ ఆపరేషన్స్, ద సేమ్ వే ఏ depository participant should also act. And generally, to start with, a depository firm, whoever is coming to them to become their customer, they will make it mandatory that every customer who is approaching them for taking depository services, they have to open an account known as demat account. You can see the spelling on the screen. Demat, D-E-M-A-T, demat account. As I told you, what is this demat account? All the documents or valuables of an individual, if we are maintaining them in electronic form and keeping them safely in an account, that account you call it as demat account. It is, this account is opened just similar like a bank account. As I said, just like savings bank account, just like savings bank account, FD account, anything, whatever you open, what are the procedures? Filling the application form, paying the money, okay? All this the same process will be followed for a demat account also. So the middleman who is involved in rendering ఎవరైతే ఈ depository services ఇవ్వడానికి రెడీగా ఉన్నారో that group, that organization, you call it as depository participant. Now, as I said, anyone who wants to become the customer or coming with keeping their valuables with the depository participant, it is mandatory for them to open a demat account where all their securities are being maintained in an electronic form. They have to open a demat account, and to open a demat account, they need to fill up an account opening form by reading the standard agreements and giving your giving your authorization or acceptance for the rules and regulations for the mentioned in the application form. Along with that form, the client requires to attach photographs of account holder, attested copies of proof of residence, that is residence proof, ID proof, to be submitted along with the account opening form. ఒక సేవింగ్స్ బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తే ఎలాంటి ఫార్మాలిటీస్ ఫాలో అవుతామో, ఫర్ ఓపెనింగ్ ఎ డిమాట్ అకౌంట్ ఆల్సో వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు ఫాలో ద సేమ్ ప్రాసెస్ హియర్. Now, let us learn what are the various services that have been rendered by a depository firm. Now, as I said, as it is working with an objective of depository services, its main objective is to keep all your physical certificates in electronic form. అంటే మన సెక్యూరిటీస్ కి సంబంధించిన అన్ని డాక్యుమెంట్స్ ని కూడా ఒక సిస్టమ్ లో, ఒక సాఫ్ట్ కాపీలో మెయింటైన్ చేస్తూ, keeping them safely in one particular folder or in one particular system safely, you call it as dematerialization. This is very familiar, prominent function of depository services. Main objective is dematerialization of documents. Then another thing is rematerialization. What is this rematerial? It is, in short, can be known as remat, reverse of demat. ఆల్రెడీ ఎలక్ట్రానిక్ ఫామ్ లో ఉన్నదాన్ని మళ్ళీ ఫిజికల్ again converting your physical converting your electronic securities into physical securities, you call it as rematerialization. This process will also be taken care by depository firm, that is DPs, depository participants. And whenever, suppose as I said, Bharti purchased some shares. Whenever Bharti wants to transfer her shares on the name of her family members, it can be husband, it can be children, whoever it is. Whenever she wants to transfer the shares on the name of the concerned family members, she can approach this depository participant firm, give her acceptance for this, and she can make all the documents to be transferred on the name of the concerned family member. Such activity will be taken care by the depository participant on behalf of Bharti. The other function what the depository firm is performing is, as it is a mediator, it is a broker in between the company and the shareholder. Whenever Bharti is purchasing the shares of any company, it is the duty of the depository participants to see to it that all account is settled without any issues. Settlement of trade between the two parties has to be done and taken care by depository participant. Bharti will make the payment And it is the duty of depository participant to see to it that the shares got transferred onto the name of Bharti. So they will be acting and see to it that whatever the money paid by Bharti should reach the concerned company where from where she wants to buy the shares. So this entire activity will be taken care by depository participants. Then drawbacks of depository system. Yeah. Now, equally, once there are benefits and advantages means there might be some loopholes or weaknesses that are there with every organization. So equally, depository services will also carry certain uh, we, uh, drawbacks like multiple depository model. They are coming up with various plans and schemes which are what do you call confusing to the customer, and the customer is always into dilemma which has to be followed. So there is no clarity upon the models that are being introduced by the depository participants. Then absence of clearing and settlement corporation. Now, as I said, this, what do you call, if any issue arises, there is no proper authority to take the responsibility. That means if Bharati has purchased the shares, suppose few shares got cancelled. She applied for 100 shares, opened a demat account that all shares will be onto her name. All of a sudden, the company was able to give only 70 shares. 30 shares are not allotted. Then in such case, Bharti may get disappointed or she may not want to continue with that company because she was looking for 100 shares in the same company. Like this, many issues may arise. In such a case, there is no proper authority, no proper body to settle down these kind of issues. And there is no guarantee. See, these depository firms are simply working for a commission. Why they are rendering these services? Because they look for certain kind of financial benefits of some commission. But there is no particular authority which is guaranteeing the transactions made by the customers like Bharati. So this is one of the drawback which is hindering the progress of this depository system. Then another thing is, however educated, however knowledgeable we are, many of the customers or individuals, they do not show proper interest in opening demat account because the primary reason is they are not so familiar of or they are not so aware about the handling of this demat account, processing of demat account. Because of that, they may step back opening of demat accounts. Then another thing is, now this what do you call, these depository participants, generally they charge some fee from customers for doing this activity, and at the same time for doing this process, they do also collect some processing fee from the customers. Now, this processing fee is what do you call, slowly going high. I mean, going what do you call, started raising slowly, which is disappointing the customers to opt for this depository or demat accounts. This is also one of the disadvantage we can observe with the depository systems. So this is about various fee-based financial services that are working in our country. So we have discussed about the merchant bankers, we discussed about the credit rating agencies, and we also discussed about the depository services. under the fee-based financial services. So by this, we have completed all the topics we have covered as per the syllabus. As per the syllabus that is being given, we were successfully able to complete all the 5 blocks. Now, before closing the class, I also want to discuss some more points on certain topics like rights issue, bonus issue, underrating. These are very familiar concepts which every finance student should know, because these are all, they might be, you may have this as interview questions, or in future, whenever you go for any competitive exams or any exams relating to purely finance based, you may have to come across these aspects. We will just have a look over those concepts briefly, and then we will wind up with the class.
Okay.
This bonus issue of shares. This is one important topic you need to understand. Why this bonus issue of shares? Now, generally, the shares as we discussed in the last class, what is a share? It is a small part of capital of the company. It is a small part of capital of the company. So a single investor cannot make investment of large amount into the company. So they generally ask public for investment. All public companies, public limited companies, gather the capital in the form of shares. So, company start cheyalante, they require money, capital. And the huge money, crores of money, a single individual invest cheyaleru kabatti, they call for shares. So, by buying the shares of company, you are going to pay the money and buy the shares. That means you have become one of the member or shareholder of that company. Bharti oka 20 shares konte, Bharti will be one of the shareholder of the company. She is one of the important member of the company. She can involve in the meetings of the company. She can, discuss in the meetings. All these rights she holds. Another important thing is she will get a percentage of dividend. If bank లో money పెడితే మనకి interest ఎట్లా వస్తుందో, if you invest your money in shares, you will be paid certain percentage rate of return on those shares. That rate of benefit or return on shares, you call it as dividend. D-I-V-I-D-E-N-D, dividend. Now, so basing on the number of shares you are interested or you want to buy and the amount you paid, you will be issued the shares. And once you become the shareholder, you may get certain offers like bonus issue of shares. So let us learn what is this bonus issue of shares. It is generally an offer which is given at a free of cost by giving certain additional shares to the existing shareholders. Already, Bharti is the shareholder of one XYZ company. Since 2 years, she is acting as a shareholder of that company. A company shares kondi, double bettindi, a company lo money invest chesin kabatti, she has become the shareholder of that XYZ company. Now, on a day, on one particular, during one particular period, that company has announced certain additional shares. Actually, she is holding only 20 shares, but the company has announced some 5 more additional shares to Bharati. 5 more additional shares to Bharati as bonus. You call them as bonus issue of shares. అయితే why the companies are announcing this bonus issue of shares means to attract the investors and retain. భారతి ఎక్కడ క్విట్ అవుతుందో, తన కంపెనీ వదిలేసి వెళ్ళిపోతుందో, ఎక్కడ తన ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ రిటర్న్ ఇవ్వమంటుందో, లేకపోతే షీ విల్ గో అండ్ జాయిన్ సంబడి పీక్యూఆర్ కంపెనీ. సో దట్ కంపెనీ డస్ నాట్ వాంట్ టు లూజ్ భారతి మా దగ్గర షేర్ హోల్డర్ గా ఎక్కువ రోజులు కంటిన్యూ అవ్వాలి అంటే వీ హ్యావ్ టు రీటైన్ హర్ అంటే తను మన కంపెనీలోనే ఎక్కువ రోజులు ఉండేట్లుగా చూసుకోవాలి. దానికోసం వాట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు డూ, వీ నీడ్ టు అట్రాక్ట్ హర్ బై గివింగ్ సమ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా బెనిఫిట్స్. That extra amount of shares which are being allotted to Bharati as an call as a bonus, you call it as bonus issue of shares. అయితే ఎందుకు ఇది ఇష్యూ చేస్తారంటే టు అట్రాక్ట్ ద ఇన్వెస్టర్ టు సీ టు ఇట్ దట్ what do you call that concerned shareholder do not quit the company. అయితే మరి is it not a burden to the company? Yes, it is a burden to the company. దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, కంపెనీస్ కి అవుట్ స్టాండింగ్ షేర్స్ ఎక్కువ అవుతాయి, బట్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం మార్కెట్ లో గుడ్ విల్ పెరుగుతుంది. How the goodwill goes up? Because like Bharati, there are many shareholders, and the company will issue bonus shareholders to all those shareholders whom they do not want to quit. By this, what happened? The word of mouth goes into the market that so and so company is a reputed company. They are, what do you call? They are very prompt in paying off the benefits to the shareholders. Atla, a good word of mouth will be spread about the company by shareholders like Bharati. This is what the company wants. Though the company is falling into loss, financial paranga, adi koncham kashtamai vallaki. But still they will issue bonus shares so that their company will get market capitalization.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
When you give me important questions.
Yes, definitely. Before winding up, I'll give you. Don't worry. Still, we have time to more 15 minutes we have.
4:30. 4:30.
It is only 4:31.
Yes.
Yeah.
Today is the last
Don't worry,
class.
even if the time extends also, I'll give the important questions and leave you. Because I want to know, I want to complete these concepts for you. Okay. This is what you call it as bonus shares. Though it is a financial burden to the company, still the company wants to get capitalization of its name into the market. That is why they are issuing bonus shares to the existing shareholders. Then another thing you need to learn is right issue of shares. This is generally the company invites their existing shareholders to buy some more shares. As I said, Bharati is holding only 20 shares, but the company may invite Bharati to buy some more shares at a discounted rate. That means the shareholders will get the right to purchase new shares at a low price that is available in the market, which helps the company to raise more capital without giving the scope for new shareholders to come into the company. Without the entry of new shareholder, the existing shareholder, we will sell the shares to the existing shareholders by giving the shares at a discounted rate. This concept, you call it as right issue of shares. Then this underwriting, I think we already studied, but anyway, we will repeat it once again. It is underwriting is a process of giving guarantee, giving surety for all the loans raised by individual clients. Whenever somebody is want to take a loan from a bank or institution, we need somebody surety to be given. So the financial institutions are coming forward to give surety for the loans mortgaged or loans taken. This process you call it as underwriting. Then book building. Book building is a process where the underwriter or a company decides the price at which the shares have to be sold out in the market. What is the primary price? What is the price that is being fixed to a share to be sold out in the market? Now, this is generally called as price discovery. This is generally called as price discovery. So these are the things which I want you to learn to have a basic knowledge. Whenever you attend a meeting or this thing, this will be very helpful and supportive for you. Okay. Now, as you ask, you want me to dictate the questions? Unit wise, you want me to give the important questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am. Please.
Yes, sir. You can take down unit wise, please.
Okay.
Explain the structure of Indian financial system. Briefly explain the structure of Indian financial system.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Then you write down the second question. Describe the functioning of financial system of our country.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question, please?
Describe the functioning of
Okay.
Financial system of our country.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Then explain the steps taken by government for the progress of Indian financial system. For the progress of Indian financial system. Then discuss the role of non-banking finance companies within brackets you write down NBFCs. NBFCs, non-banking finance companies. Describe the role of non-banking finance companies in the development of financial system. Then, what do you mean by banking sector reforms? Evaluate
It's reforms, ma'am.
reforms. Yeah,
Okay.
banking sector reforms. Continue the question. Evaluate reforms made at various levels. Next one. Discuss the challenges encountered by
Challenges.
encountered by the financial sector of our country and suggest the remedial measures.
Remedial measures.
Measures, yeah. Next, take down. What is a money market? Discuss briefly various money market instruments. Money market instruments. Next one. What is a capital market?
Sabri.
What is a capital market? Evaluate its role in the progress of financial markets of our country. Evaluate its role in progress of financial markets of our country.
Financial
You may
market
get of our country.
or country. Okay.
Then you may get a question on stock exchanges. It can be role of stock exchange or functions of stock exchange. Almost similar, but the points, few points may differ. Okay. Role of stock exchange or functions of stock exchange. Anything you may get.
Okay, ma'am.
Then write short notes on DFHI, Discount and Finance House of India. DFHI.
PH.
DFHI, Discount and Finance House of India.
Okay, ma'am.
Then take down. what is a monetary policy? Discuss various monetary policy instruments. Or various policies of various instruments of monetary policy. Next, take down. Write short notes on bonus shares, right issue, right, RIGHT, right issue of shares, hire purchase, factoring, Now you take down another question. What do you mean by fund-based financial services? What do you mean by fund-based financial services?
Ma'am, can you repeat it?
What do you mean by
Okay.
fund-based financial services? Discuss various methods of fund-based financial services. Various methods of fund-based financial services. Next. Describe the evolution of merchant banking in our country. Describe the evolution of merchant banking in India. Next, discuss the role of credit rating agencies. Discuss the role of credit rating agencies.
Role of
Credit rating agencies in our country. In our country. They may also ask you the question of process of credit rating. Whatever the steps we have learned, that you can write down. Process of credit rating or role of credit rating. Any question, you may get it.
Okay.
And what is the account opening procedure of depository services? Account opening procedure of depository services. Or simply they may question you as demat account. what is the process of opening a demat account? ఇలా కూడా అడగొచ్చు. Either of the way they make question. So almost all the 5 block questions have been covered in this. Okay. And we were able to complete the syllabus, covered all the topics as per your curriculum is there. And I wish you all a good luck for your exams. Any
Thank you,
queries,
ma'am.
you can connect to me anytime. And also share me your mail ID or something so that I can share this PPTs for you for easy references. Okay.
Your number, ma'am.
That you can take it from the concerned authorities. That's all. If required, you may talk to your HOD or the concerned authority. They'll help you out to reach me. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Fine.
you,
Thank you. Wish you all a good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hope the subject is clear to you. You were able to follow the subject?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you.
ये मैम का नेम क्या था? पद्मा
प्रमोदा।
प्रमोदा।
एक क्वेश्चन करना था मेरे को।
ये बहुत लेट कर दिए।
हाँ, अब एग्जाम फी पे करना है ना एक्चुअल में।
हाँ
2 असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने के बाद एग्जाम फी पे कर सकते, राइट? हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ, 2 असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने के बाद एग्जाम फी पे करना होगा, राइट?
राइट।
बट मैं असाइनमेंट 1 ओनली सबमिट करी, असाइनमेंट 2 सबमिट नहीं करी अभी तक, बट
वो
फिर भी मैं एग्जाम फी पे कर सकती, ऑलरेडी
पे
पेड।
करना।
कुछ लोगों का पे नहीं हो रहा, बट मेरा पे हो गया।
हेलो।
हाँ,
हाँ मंजू।
आप पे करे हो क्या एग्जाम फीस?
नहीं नहीं, अभी नहीं पे करी, ट्राई भी नहीं करी मैं। मेरा अभी टू
नहीं, कुछ लोगों का पे नहीं हो रहा। 2
हाँ
असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने के बाद पे करना चाहिए, बट मैं तो एक ही असाइनमेंट सबमिट करी, असाइनमेंट 1 2 सबमिट नहीं करी, बट मेरा पे हो गया।
हो गया। हाँ तो
हाँ,
शायद वो किसी किसी का बस समटाइम्स नेटवर्क इशू रहता ना, उस
शायद।
वजह से भी नहीं होता, ऐसा हो जा रहा। आप पे कर दिए?
हाँ, मैं पे भी कर दी उसको।
अच्छा।
2-3 लोगों का ट्राई करी, उनका पे नहीं हो रहा।
अच्छा, तो समटाइम नेटवर्क इशू भी होता ना, उसमें भी हो जाता।
राइट।
हम्म।
अब नेक्स्ट लास्ट क्लास क्या है?
HR।
अच्छा, ओके।
हाँ।
इससे पहले कौन सा क्लास हुआ था, टैक्सेशन या अकाउंट्स?
टैक्सेशन।
टैक्सेशन, ओके।
हाँ।
अभी कितने
आज
बजे
वो
होगा?
डिनर के बाद ज्वाइन करे, 5 o'clock को है।
5 o'clock का, अभी 7 मिनट है।
हाँ।
और टाइम नहीं मिल रहा था मेरे को एक्चुअली,
हम्म।
इसलिए ज्वाइन नहीं कर सकी।
अच्छा।
ये अभी सुन लेंगे, एक क्लास है ना, यूट्यूब पे सेंड कर रहे हैं ना सब लोग।
हाँ सब डाल रही ना, मैं भी डाली थी।
हम्म, वही
हम्म।
चेक करना एक बार।
चलिए ठीक है, 5 मिनट
नेक्स्ट क्लास में
कर लो नेक्स्ट क्लास के लिए।
मिलेंगे।
ओके।